Hi guys, how's everybody doing? It is the new year. Ah, the new year. Who'd have thought it? So, as you know, I was recently in California. They got the fires under control as I was leaving, and now the fires are back. I think that somebody is just destined to burn the shit out of California. Like, that's just the way it is. That's just how it's going to be. Weird but true. Anyway, how's everybody doing? We did talked a little bit about my favorite kink last week. Rope. She's a saucy minx. That's right. I love her. She's amazing. So, today we are going to be talking about impact. Impact tends to be, hey baby bear, impact tends to be the most popular kink. It is what most people recognize and associate immediately with BDSM. And that is because of the movies, the books, pretty much everything that talks about BDSM always talks about hitting people with stuff. And that's all impact is. Impact is pretty much an umbrella term for any kind of play where you're going to be hitting someone with something. As the top, you are going to be using some kind of tool or implement, and I got a bunch I'm going to show you today, and you're going to be using those tools to hit your bottom. Whether it's your hand, whether it's a flogger, paddle, cane, crop, your foot, your head. I have seen tops headbutt their bottoms in the ass before. It was extremely entertaining and orthodox. I had a blast watching. Um, yeah, it was amazing fun. Shout out to Sir Joseph, who is the person I saw do that at a convention. Dude just head butted his bottom. She was on the spanking bench. He was head butting her ass, and they were laughing their ass off, having a great time. It was amazing. Okay. I've once at a Beyond Leather convention, which is a kinky BDSM convention, saw a dude kicking his submissive in the pussy. And he was doing it in such a loving way. Like it looked like they had a really special bond. And every time he kicked her in the pussy, you could feel the love between those two. It was amazing. She was crying by the time they were done. Their aftercare was beautiful. He held her and told her what a good girl she was and what a good job she did. She licked her pussy juices off of his boot. It was fantastic. I did not get their name, but it was fantastic. It was lovely. Okay. One of the young ladies that was standing there watching it with me, literally, we walk into the dungeon, we're watching them. He gets about a good 4 or 5 kicks in, and she looks at me and says, I wish someone loved me enough to kick me in the pussy. And I knew exactly what she was talking about. That is the type of person that you deal with in BDSM. We are not all there, but we enjoy ourselves. So, a couple things you need to know about impact. Number one, it is extremely important to make sure that just like any other type of play, you are negotiating your impact scene in the proper way. Because impact involves hitting your bottom, the person that you're playing with something, you want to make sure that you're asking them questions about any kind of skin situation they may have. Eczema, alopecia, if they are on blood thinners, that is super important because bruises can turn into bleeds. Bruises can become clots that will travel in their skin. Blood does not clot the same way for a person that is on a blood thinner than it does for a person that is not. So if your bottom has any kind of heart issue and they take any kind of medication that is a blood thinner, any kind of Coumadin, any kind of Blood thinning medication, that is something you have to pay attention to. Now, I am not saying you can't play with them, but you do have to take special precautions playing with them if they are on a blood thinner, because their skin, their blood, and their bruises will act differently. And if you do not know what that looks like and what that is, and you are not comfortable, don't do it. Just tell them no. Just tell them no. Better safe than sorry. Nobody wants to be sitting in jail saying, I didn't think it would be that bad. Better to just say no. Now, if you are performing light impact, and what I mean by light impact is they're barely going to feel it. It's going to be like a massage. You're brushing the floggers up against them. It's mainly for show and for the sensation of them to say, hey, I got flogged this one time by this guy at this place. I do a lot of extremely light impact, especially for people that have absolutely no interest in pain, but they want to experience what BDSM is about. And the first thing they say is, can you do something that won't hurt? Can you hit me with that thing over there on the table? But I don't want it to hurt. So we do very light impact. And if you're doing very light impact, then you have less to worry about when you're thinking about things like the blood thinners, like the skin conditions, things like that. But you do want to make sure you're going to keep it light. If you are not sure what kind of medications they're on, you are not sure how to treat them differently because of the different medications they might be on, or if somebody doesn't want to tell you what kind of medication they're on. I am the type of person where I have a negotiation before all of my scenes. And I tell people, if there's any question that you don't feel comfortable answering, that's fine. You don't have to answer it. But I also tell them, if you don't answer a question and that makes me uncomfortable doing the scene with you, then I won't do the scene. You can say you don't want to answer, just like I can say I'm not going to play with you. And it is what it is. So, for those bottoms that are out there, the questions that we ask you before an impact scene are not just to get up in your business. We are trying to keep you safe. If someone is a good, experienced Dom, they will know what questions to ask, and they will make sure to ask them before you get started. As a top and a bottom, there are certain things you are going to make sure you are looking for in the person you are playing with. As a top, red flags in a bottom are, I don't have limits. You can do anything you want to me. Ooh, baby, you like that. It's sexy, ain't it? No, bitch, it's not sexy. That means you're not experienced and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because what you just told me is that I can lift you up off the bench, throw you to the ground, and break your arm. And that's okay. Because I can do anything I want to you. You don't have any limits. As a top, when a woman tells me she doesn't have any limits, I keep a pair of clippers in my toy bag. I pull them out, I turn them on, and I go to cut her hair. When she says, what the fuck are you doing? I say, oh, I'm into depilation. I like to cut people's heads bald. You said you don't have any limits, so I'm going to cut all your hair off. And then that reignites the conversation about limits. As a top, you want to look for bottoms that are aware enough to know hard limits exist. I have them, and I am freely comfortable telling you what they are, because I know that the reason I'm telling you this is so that you know what not to do to me. You need to know what I'm not okay with. And that's what I'm going to tell you so that you don't do it. Bottoms that are so super excited that they have to have everything right away, that is another red flag. That is an indication of something we call sub frenzy. Sub frenzy is when your bottom is so super excited that they have lost rational thought and they have succumbed to the excitement of wanting to do everything immediately as much as possible. And that's not a good place to be, because a lot of times they are not going to be conscious and aware enough to use their safe words if they need it. They are going to do things that are not going to be safe, or they're going to suggest things that may not be safe, or it's just something that can come around and bite you in the ass later because of a whole other set of reasons you don't want to deal with. So as a top, those are things you want to look out for. As a bottom, when you are playing with someone, if they do not ask you what your hard limits are, don't play with them. They are either inexperienced or they just don't give a damn. And they're going to do what the fuck they want to do, the way they want to do it, and you don't fucking matter. And if this is your master, that's one thing. If this is a dude you just met at the party that you saw play with someone and you think that might be interesting to play with them, that's a whole different situation. So, as a bottom, you're looking for a top to ask you what your hard limits are, and you're looking for your top to set up safe words. Those two, at the very least, are two things you want to make sure are happening with a person that you're playing with. If you are playing with someone and they don't do those two things, they are either inexperienced and don't know what the fuck they're doing, or they just do not give a shit. And whatever happens, happens. If I fuck you up, I fuck you up. I don't give a shit. I don't care about you. I didn't even set safe words. It don't matter to me. And maybe you find that exciting. Maybe that bad boy situation is something that turns you on. Okay. Hopefully you won't have to go to the hospital. They won't have to go to jail, because there's nothing more unsexy than a jail cell. I don't care who you are. Jail cells are not sexy. It might be fun to hear about them. It might turn you on to know that your man went to jail. But sitting in a jail cell is not a sexy location. So think about that. Now, moving on from that, you should be asking about medication, skin conditions, skin allergies. You should be asking about trauma triggers, if they have them, if there's anything that they might think some play like this may set off or may initiate. Sometimes that's important, sometimes it isn't. If you know that your play is going to be super light and super non-invasive, then you might be able to get away with that as long as they have their safe word set, so that if you do trigger something, they have the ability to safe word. That is the most important thing, because that's going to cover everything else. If you forget the trauma trigger conversation, the prescriptions, all of that stuff, and you make sure to be clear about safe words, then at least your bottom has a place where they can protect themselves, keep themselves safe, and use their safe word if they need it. That is extremely important. Hard limits are not something you can come back from. If you break someone's hard limit, you can't unbreak it. If you do the thing that they have a problem with, you can't go back in time and undo it. So it's important that you know what that is before you get started, so you know what not to do, and set your safe words. Those two are the two most important. I cannot stress it enough. Okay? When it comes to impact play, especially if you are not experienced, you should have a first aid kit. Without question. Keep it in your toy bag. Doesn't need to be super big, doesn't need to have a ton of stuff in it. Band-aids, gauze, medical tape, antibiotic ointment like Jesus Christ, I can't remember the name. Neosporin, alcohol or peroxide, something to clean the wound with, so some wipes of some kind. That's pretty much it. If you want to get up to the sewing kit, suture, staples, that's next level. Medical gloves, goggles, scrubs. That's some next level stuff. But the bare minimum, band-aids, gauze, medical tape, Neosporin or some kind of antibiotic ointment, alcohol or peroxide, and some kind of wipe, just to be able to wipe the area clean, disinfect, put something to cover it up, antibiotic ointment so it doesn't get infected, boom, keep it moving, okay? There have been plenty of times during a scene where I'm doing impact with someone, I have broken their skin, they start bleeding. We treat it, and we keep going. It happens. We practice RAC, risk-aware consensual kink. When you are playing in the BDSM world, you know that there's a certain amount of risk associated with that, and you do your best to mitigate that risk. But there is no such thing as safe BDSM play. None of it's safe. All of it comes with some kind of risk. So that first aid kit being in there lets you take care of whatever might happen. And again, if your bottom is a bit of a masochist, a lot of times you'll clean it up, antibiotic, band-aid, and they'll be like, all right, let's go. Let's keep going. Ain't no reason to stop. Let's do it. And that's great. Beautiful, wonderful, spectacular. If the person wants to stop, you stop. It's up to you. It's up to them. Now, the toys. The toys. I Florentine. And because normally when I'm in the dungeon and I'm using my floggers, I am there for hours at a time, literally 6, 7, 8 hours a night, 2, 3, 4 nights in a row. And I'm swinging floggers all night long. So I use finger flippers on a swivel head. This is the least amount of impact to my forearms and wrist. I have been doing it long enough and have practiced enough to have very good control with a toy like this. And because it is very low impact on my forearms and wrist, I can swing this all night long without having problems with muscle fatigue. I have built up that endurance because this is something I do a lot of. For me, my hands don't get tired because I am not holding on or grabbing anything. And I can spin, I can turn, I can Florentine. I am a two-hand swinger. So for me, these are perfect, okay? These floggers were custom made by me, for me, and I love them. They're great. I learned how to make them from a gentleman named Leather Lee, God rest his soul. I bought a bunch of his floggers, and he showed me how to make floggers at one point. He was a super, super nice, dominant, great guy. He sold great toys. He's passed away, but he was a pillar of the South Florida community, a great guy, old guard, toy maker, toy seller, and I would say master player. He didn't like it when I called him that, but I always called him master player because he definitely knew his shit. When it came to making the toys or playing with them, he knew his shit. So I have some of his stuff, and I learned a lot from him. Okay? So this is a fixed handle flogger. By fixed handle, I mean it has a fixed handle. I have to hold on to this. Okay? This has a counterbalance to give me a little bit of balancing. It's got my bare face. And it's a pretty good size flogger. Now you'll notice different floggers are different sizes. This one is bigger than this one. Bigger means heavier, means harder hit, and it means more thud. Both of these floggers are thuddy floggers. These are called falls. The little leather pieces that come off the end of the flogger are called falls. These falls are softer and thicker, which makes this a thuddy flogger. This flogger is even more thuddy because the falls are even bigger and even thicker. So when someone is hit with these floggers, it is a thuddy hit as opposed to what we call a stingy hit. Now, for the physics nerds, I'm going to talk to my people for a moment. Physics nerds, you know I love y'all, boy. Let me tell you something. Kinetic energy versus potential energy. You know how that kinetic energy, that initial contact that it makes with your body? A thuddy flogger is going to transfer that kinetic energy into more potential energy by having larger falls to spread out the impact site so that the energy is dissipated faster. Something that's stingy is going to be a lot thinner and a lot less thick so that that kinetic energy translates from the flogger straight to the ass, straight to the skin, straight to the spot that's being hit. So you get more of a sting. And the sting is the initial contact hit. The thuddy floggers, which is a more potential energy hit, transfers the kinetic energy to potential energy, spreads it out through the fall, and transfers that same amount of energy to a larger area to have more potential energy than kinetic energy, so it feels thuddy. physics nerds. Regular people, they feel different. One of them feel like a bee sting. Other one feel like you getting hit with something. The bee sting is the stingy. Getting hit with something is the thuddy. The thud is like the thing that hits you is like pushing against the spot is hitting. The stingy is like the thing that hits you just kind of hit it and came off it, and you still feel like that little sting, that little bite, that little yeah. So that's the difference between thuddy and stingy. Now, pretty much everything in impact will translate to either thuddy or stingy. Most bottoms will tell you whether they like thuddy or stingy. I have come across people that like both, but it's rare. Most people like one or the other. And thuddy is more popular. Based on the numbers, based on the statistics, more people like thuddy than they do stingy. So that's just what it is. That's the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Facts are facts. Okay? Now, paddles. And yes, this is an old boy. He been used up and worn out. Okay, this is a very thuddy paddle, and the reason for that is partly because it has two separate pieces, and secondly because it's made of leather. It is a softer material. Okay, because it's a soft material, that energy is absorbed throughout the paddle and transferred into the spot that's being hit in a wider area, so you get more of a thuddy hit. My Angry Birds cricket bat. This is not the worst thing I have in the box, but it is probably third on the list of worst things to be hit with in the box when we're talking about pain. This cricket bat has a nice flat surface. And because it has a nice flat surface, it makes really good contact with ass. But not just ass, thighs, backs, lower backs, upper backs, shoulders. It makes really, really, really solid contact. And you can grab it with two hands. So when somebody says, hey, I really want you to beat the fuck out of me, you'll see me instantly get a big old smile on my face and pull out Mr. Cricket Bat. Mr. Cricket Bat is a very stingy hit. Wood transfers every bit of energy immediately. When I hit you with this, you feel the sting and the thud, but the sting is more pronounced because this does not absorb any of the energy from that hit. Everything that I put into it goes straight from my hand to the wood to the spot I hit you. So you're going to know you've been hit. You will most likely be bruised unless you have some real motherfucking tough skin. This will leave a mark. This will leave a bruise. I have some toys that are guaranteed to leave a bruise no matter who you are. This is not at that level, but this will most likely leave a bruise. There is a possibility you won't get one, but most likely you will. Yeah, you will. I'm going to fuck you up. This is going to fuck you up. So, a cricket bat. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Stingy. Wood, paddle, large scale. That's big girl spanking right there. That's big girl shit right there. That's not for the faint of heart. That's big girl shit. Okay? Now, this is one of my favorite paddles. It is ostrich. And as you can see, it's flimsy. It's an ostrich leather paddle. The thing I like about this paddle is I use it in a way where you're going to hit with both sides. I'm going back and forth, back and forth. So you're getting top and bottom when you get hit with this, okay? And I can do this in a way where it speeds up, it slows down, but I'm getting all of that, okay? This tends to be on the thuddy side. This is definitely a more thuddy paddle, but it can get some sting to it if I start speeding up and really get to using it. This side tends to be more of a stingy side. This side tends to be more of a thuddy side. And the reason for that are the little indentations from the ostrich leather, okay? Those little hits make contact before the actual paddle does. Because they're raised up, they make a little bit of a sting, okay? So this gives you kind of the best of both worlds. This is a riding crop. These are what jockeys use to hit horses when they're riding them to make them go faster. And all this is a paddle on the end of a stick. That's all a riding crop is. It is a paddle on the end of a stick. It makes paddles a lot faster and a lot easier to handle. Okay? Now, if I really want this to hurt, I can hit with the side of it. And those first couple hits aren't going to make a difference. But when I pick it up and I start using it really, really fast, that's when it's going to hurt. And this can hurt a lot. Normally, masochists are the ones that like riding crops. People that don't like pain normally do not like these. Okay? And pokey, 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 you can use both sides. Okay? I will often use the back of the crop to kind of jab and poke at people just to fuck with them. Because why not? Okay. I have not been able to use this because Baby Bear does not like canes. So we stay away from canes. But this is a bamboo cane. These are stingy and these can hurt quite a lot. And it's really just that switch that you used to have to go get off the tree for your mom to beat your ass. That's really all this is. It's the same thing. But because it's bamboo, it don't break. I could weld somebody on, I could weld with this for a pretty good amount of time. It might bend, but it ain't gonna break. And these come in all different sizes, length and width. The wider the cane, the more thuddy the hit. The thinner the cane, the more stingy the hit. Okay? Not everyone likes canes. Canes are hit or miss. Some people do, some people don't. I love canes, but I'm not getting hit. So for me, the reason I love canes is because they're fun to use and it's nice to hit somebody with them. And I can build up a good amount of speed going back and forth. And if you listen real close, you can hear me beat the shit out of somebody with it. But anyway, the reason I love canes and the reason the person getting hit loves canes is not the same reason. So if your person does not like canes, these are not for you. But if your person likes pain and they're into stingy pain, oh, buddy, you want to make sure you get one of these right here because this will change your life. This is also a cane. This is Mr. Bear the cane. I have used this on quite a few people in the dungeon, and the Mr. Bear cane has fucked some people up. Can you say fuck people up, boys and girls? Fuck people up. Very good, boys and girls. That's what this cane does. Because as you can see, it's nice and thick. So it gives nice thuddy hits. And because Mr. Bear is what we call a sadist, can you say sadist, boys and girls? That's right. He likes fucking people up. What Mr. Bear likes to do is he likes to take it and hit people with it pretty softly and then gradually and very slowly work his way up in the tearing the ass up. So when someone agrees to Canes and says they want something heavy and thuddy, Mr. Bear gets to come out and play. Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Bear. Yay! Meet me, Mr. Bear. Hi, everybody. That's right. And if Mr. Bear comes out, we fucking somebody up. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Okay. Last but not least, no, I'm not showing you my girlfriend. Baby Bear does a great job. I don't need to use these. You ever heard the old saying, lady, when you ain't got a man, you got a hand? We ain't talking about that either. Your first impact toy should be these right here. Before you learn to use a toy how to hit somebody, you should know how to use your hands to hit somebody. Now, learning how to use your hands to hit in an impact scene is important because it is the first way you learn how to control your own strength. It is the first way you learn how to keep back what needs to be kept back and let loose what needs to be let loose. Not everybody has the same idea of what pain is. Asking someone how much pain they like is a very subjective question. One person's 7 might be another person's 2. How many of you know for a fact that because I've been doing this for a very long time and I have played with people that are literally super into pain, I mean pain sluts, love pain, their 10 is not going to be the same as someone who just started doing this yesterday that says they're at a 10. And I have to take that into consideration. So every time I ask someone what level of pain do they like and they give me a number, do you know what that means? Not a goddamn thing. It doesn't fucking matter. Because your number's subjective and that doesn't mean shit to me. If you say you're a 4, if you say you're a 5, if you say you're a 10, it all means the same goddamn thing. Because I guarantee you, your number system and mine are not the same. So I'm asked that question to make people feel comfortable, but it really doesn't matter because I have to do the same thing with every person that I play with. I have to start low, check in, and work my way up until they tell me I have reached their limit. And then I know what their limit is, not based on a number, based on my actions and what I'm doing when they tell me I have reached their limit. That is pretty much the only safe way to do it because they can say they're a 5, they can say they're an 8, but their 8 and your 8 may not be the same shit. So the number system, how much pain do you like, how much pain, it doesn't mean anything. It's useless. Dominance, good dominance, we ask that question to make our bottoms feel better, but it gives us no information. We pay no attention to the answer, and it doesn't fucking matter. We have to gauge it for ourselves because every person is different. And what your idea of something is not going to be exactly the same as mine. So I have to go in, do it, and then let you communicate to me when I have reached your level or what your level is as I go so that I can make my number fit your number. But it has to be done through trial and error. And you don't start heavy, you start light and gradually work your way up. If you are with a dominant and they want to do nothing but go heavy straight out of the gate, they are not concerned with you. They are doing what they want to do so they can have fun. If you are the type of submissive that just wants to please your dominant and make them happy and you're okay with that, great, wonderful, spectacular, that's fine. If you're playing with a person you don't know and you told them that that's not something you like and they don't give a shit and do it anyway, that's a pretty big red flag and you need to use your safe word. Not everyone that says they are something is something. The guy you met at the party that said he's a dominant, that does not make him a dominant. Okay? Boys and girls, children of all ages, let me be very clear. And you can disagree all you want to, but the facts are this. If you have never had a submissive, you are not a dominant. You can be a top and not be a dominant or a master. If the only time you are interacting with a submissive is during play, you do not have a dynamic, you have not built a relationship, then you are a top. You are not a dominant. You are not a master. In order to be a dominant, you must have a submissive. In order to be a master, you must have a slave. Just because you like the title and you want to call yourself that, it does not make you that. You can post a bunch of pictures to Instagram. That doesn't make you a model. You can play all the Call of Duty you want. That does not make you a soldier. NBA 2K, you got the highest score out of your group of friends. That does not mean you're an NBA player. Do we all understand the difference, boys and girls? Wonderful, great, spectacular. So, if you're playing with someone that's a top and you are a bottom and you feel that they are not safe, you feel that they don't know something, you don't necessarily have to run in the other direction. Help them out. As a top, they might not have the experience that you have as a bottom playing with tops. So help them out. Tell them something they don't know. Educate them. Hopefully they'll listen. As a top playing with a bottom, that is a new bottom. If you know they're new, you know they have no experience, take that into consideration while you're playing with them. You got to be patient. You got to have some understanding. You have to know that they're not going to know certain things that an experienced bottom would know. So you have to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that, don't play with them. But once you agree to play with them, you take responsibility for their safety in that scene. Okay? I tell people all the time, you have two options. Either you're going to pay me, and when we do a scene, it's on you. I'm going to do exactly what you want, the way you want, how you want, when you want, where you want. You're going to tell me what kind of experience you want. I'm going to create that experience, and I'm going to give you exactly what you asked for. If I'm not getting paid, when we play, I'm going to do what I want to do. Now, doing what I want to do does not mean I'm going to disrespect your boundaries, does not mean I'm not going to listen to your safe words, and it does not mean I'm going to violate your hard limits. I'm going to respect all of that. But that scene is going to be something that I set up in my head. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to play with you. I'm going to come to you and I'm going to say, are you okay with this, and this? These are all the things I want to do in the scene. Is all of this okay? You can say yes or no. If you say yes, I'm going to do it. If you say no, I'm going to take it off the list. If you say no to enough things, I might not want to play with you. But what's not going to happen is you're not going to sit there and say, okay, well, I want you to do this, and this. Don't do that, and that. Do this, and this instead. Because once you start telling me that, there's a paycheck for me. As a top, make the smart decision and the smart choice about who you're going to play with and what you're going to do. But as a bottom, learn what to look for in a top so that you do not let people take advantage of you either by their intentionality or their inexperience. Both of those are dangerous. It is your responsibility to protect yourself, whether you're a top or a bottom. That's it. That's the whole sentence. It is your responsibility to protect yourself. For the most part, the way a bottom does that is through communication with her top. The way a top does that is making good choices and good decisions. But we grown, y'all. People lie. There are a bunch of bottoms out there that will lie to get you to play with them and then be mad because you didn't know something they didn't tell you. There's people out there like that. There's people out there that will put you in a situation just so that they can start a rumor or tarnish your reputation just to get that victim's attention. There are predatory bottoms just like there are predatory tops. They exist. They are in the community. They are in the lifestyle. So tops have to be careful and bottoms have to be careful. Yes? Yes or yes? Yes. Wonderful. Okay, so couple of things. Tomorrow night, there is a munch at Boss Burgers and Brew in Miami Lakes. It is a meetup for BDSM kinky people. I'll be there. But I am going because Boss Burgers and Brew has some bomb-ass hamburgers. These hamburgers are amazing. And they have homemade onion rings with beer batter, the dressing on the wings, the breading on the wing, beer batter breading on their onion ring. Amazing onion rings. Bomb ass hamburgers. Pineapple beer. Yes, pineapple hard cider beer. Yo, the munch is going to be at the place I'm going to eat. That's how I look at it. So I'm going to eat, but they're going to be having a munch there while I'm eating. So it is what it is. Now, Friday, I am teaching a rope class in Tampa on Friday. It is at Eyes Wide Shut. And Eyes Wide Shut is a swingers club in Tampa that does some amazing things. It's one of the few places in Florida that you can swing and buy alcohol at the club. And they real slick about how they do it to get around that being a violation of the law. But they do it, and they do it big. So Friday and probably Saturday, I will be at the club doing something. I'm teaching the class on Friday. I'm going to be doing a little demo presentation, little razzle dazzle on Saturday. So that's this weekend in Tampa at Eyes Wide Shut. Ba-dum, boom. February 21st, there is a party that I will be doing with the host. I'm going to be doing my love languages class with the handouts. That's right, getting jiggy with it. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be doing sensual massage. I will be doing sensual rope, and I will be doing impact. I will be doing a rope demonstration. The impact will be for the people at the party that want to experience impact, and sensual massage will be done on 3 people that win whatever the door prize is for them to get a sensual massage. That party is February 21st in Fort Lauderdale. If you're interested, DM me and I will send you the flyer and the information. It is also posted in Telegram along with the flyer for the rope class. You want the 411? Hit me up. I'll shoot it to you. And I think that is everything. Yes, that is all. I will be posting these, taking care of business, doing my thingy thing, and I will see y'all next week. Hopefully I see some of you in Tampa at the class. Eyes wide shut. Doing the thingy thing. But until either then or next week, I'll see y'all later. Take it easy. Take it light. Do your thing. Peace out. Stay good in the hood. All the good stuff. Bye-bye.